is culture and some concepts related to culture, right? Culture. Look, you can note it down also, right? The term culture is defined, has been defined by many, sociologists. And if we take one summary of all those definitions, we can say that culture is the sum total. Culture is the sum total of values, ideas, beliefs. Again, I will repeat. Culture is sum total of values, ideas, beliefs, cultural, or better say material cultural equipments. Material cultural equipments like this marker, like this phone, right? These material cultural equipments, right? Like this camera, material cultural equipments, and non-material aspect, all non-material aspects, right? Which man makes or evolve as a member of society, which man makes or which evolves over the period of time in the society, right? Culture is a result of human collectivity, right? Or as a result of human actions, right, in the society, human efforts in the society. Like all, as I said, key material equipments, like this phone. This is a result of human effort. Humans innovated actually the mobile phones. Human innovated, writing board. Human innovated markers, isn't it? So we say, culture of the society is result of human efforts, human activities, and which human makes, for themselves to survive in the society, right? So this is what all we have. We have, ideas, some ideas, democratic ideas. We have values, democratic values, right? We have, beliefs. We have material cultural equipments like this phone, like bat, cricket bat, right? This marker, like pen, right? All these are material cultural equipments. And non-material aspects, like this marker is material aspect, and non-material aspect, like how to write, the knowledge to write, that is non-material aspect, right? Cricket bat is material aspect actually, right? Something, some matter. And how to play, that is non-material. How to, play square drive or different, like forms, that is, that is referred as, non-material, right? This marker is material, and knowledge to write, non-material. Education, non-material, right? So these are all, these all constitutes, culture, right? It is basically, you can say, man-made part of the environment. जो हमारा surrounding है, environment है, उसमें all the things which have been made by men, right? Which all the material and non-material things, aspects of the society which evolved, made by men over the period of time, you can refer as culture, right? So this is broadly, categorized. Culture is broadly categorized into material culture, and non-material culture, material culture and non-material culture, right? It's easy to comprehend for you now. Material, like all the things, all the materialistic things, all the matters which we have, aspect of material culture, right? All tangible things, right? And non-material culture, right? Which cannot be felt by our senses, aspects of non-material, like values, ideas, beliefs, right? These are all aspects of non-material culture. Education, aspect of non-material culture, right? So broadly it is categorized. It is, for sociological understanding, we categorize it into material culture and non-material culture, right? Look, the culture evolved in any part of the country, over the period of time, has diffused from one society or one part to other part, right? Which is called, the process of cultural diffusion. Like many inventions or materialistic things which invented and developed in European society, over the period of time diffused through social contact, cultural contact, in Indian society, right? Many aspects of non-material culture, of Indian society, like Buddhism, Jainism, right? Like many aspects of Hinduism also, right? Diffused from Indian society to other, societies, European society, Middle East, or other societies, like Southeast Asian society, Buddhism in Southeast Asian society, through cultural contact. So other two related term is cultural contact and cultural diffusion, right? Cultural diffusion depends on a lot of things, like the features of society. If society is open, then cultural diffusion is fast. Like we adopted many cultural items from Western societies. If society is closed, then low cultural diffusion is there, low cultural changes are there, right? So this is other related term is cultural. One related term is ethnocentrism related to culture. Ethnicentrism. I will be repeating this term time and again in our discussion of different topics. Ethnocentrism. Ethno, people. Ethno literal meaning is people, group, right? People's group. You can say people. Ethno means people. Centrism, like literal meaning may being centric towards our own people, our own culture, right? Or in other words, you must have read in NCERT also, like this ethnocentrism, obsession for our own culture, likedness for our own culture, obsession for our own culture, right? Keeping our own culture superior to the others, above others, right? This is ethnocentrism, right? And this ethnocentrism at times causes conflict also, right? Ethnocentrism being like considering our own culture superior to that of others. We see ethnocentric tendencies in many parts of India also, and particularly in urban settlements, right? Ethnocentrism, right? The elite class ethnocentric towards their own culture, right? Considering migrants culture, migrants way of life, behavior, right, as lower or degraded, right, and considering their own culture superior, right, over all others. Getting your point? So this is, and at times this also leads to conflict. Ethnocentric orientation we have seen in northeastern states, right? Conflict leading to conflict between Assamese speaking people and Hindi speaking people, is it, in Assam, or Marathi speaking people and non-Marathis, right? Hindi speaking people, isn't it? Right? Or non-Marathis at time, Lungiwala, southern people from South India in Maharashtra. Like conflict we have seen because of ethnocentrism, considering our own culture superior at times. These are exceptions. These are not examples. Exceptionally it takes place at times. Conflict, right? Ethnocentric conflict, like Germans and Jews. Conflict between Germans and Jews. Germans were ethnocentric. Hitler was ethnocentric, considering his own culture superior than the others, right? So this is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism at times leads to conflict. It leads to inward orientation. The societies which are ethnocentric are inward oriented societies, right? Ethnocentric society. Other term, related term is genocentrism. Further you will understand कि जहाँ पे ethnocentrism is high, their horizontal mobility is low. वहाँ पे horizontal mobility is low, right? People becomes inward looking. They look towards the social group, the people, the culture. They consider their culture as superior, their lifestyle, their food habits, their dress code. All aspects of these are all aspects of culture actually, and they consider these as superior, isn't it? Their occupation they consider superior, and they don't are much oriented towards change, isn't it? So आप देखेंगे कि जो ethnocentric society है उसमें social mobility is low, closed society है. जैसे आप देखेंगे Russian का culture, Germans का culture, they're little bit ethnocentric, right? So this is genocentrism. Genocentrism is, you can say, opposite to ethnocentrism. Here, obsession for our own culture, likedness for our own culture, orientation for our own culture, own people, and genocentrism means orientation, obsession for others' culture. Genocentrism, right? Like obsession for Western culture, right? Western culture के लिए obsession, like likedness for occupations in America, occupations in Europe, right? Their lifestyle, their food habits considered superior, isn't it? So this is called genocentric orientation. Like this is called genocentrism, right? Genocentrism leads to horizontal mobility. People have likedness for the culture of America, culture of Europe, their occupations, their lifestyle, their food habits, their dress code, right? Like serial monogamy, right? Here in India, bonded, and their serial monogamy, marriage, divorce, marriage, right? So like genocentrism, I mean obsession for others culture, right, is referred as genocentrism, and this leads to horizontal mobility. Ethnocentrism leads to low horizontal mobility, causes low horizontal mobility, low movement, low change also, right? So this is now, and ethnocentrism leads to conflict. Similar to that, genocentrism also. If people are genocentric, right, and if there are large exodus of people from one place to other place, other cultural settings or other social cultural, units. So there also we see like these days, conflict between or tension between Asians and Americans, Native Americans and migrant Asians, right? So this is. Other term is cultural relativism. Third term is cultural relativism, right? Cultural relativism, right? Look, cultural relativism refers or refers to evaluating any of the cultures or cultural settings in its own social cultural background, right? In other words, you can say every culture or every socio-cultural setting, right, should be evaluated, understood in its own cultural background, right? It should not be compared with other culture, right? We should not, like, suppose you are living in metropolitan city like Mumbai, Delhi, right? God bless all these metropolitan cities, right? And you have you meet some people, from Jharkhand, like some tribal area, suppose, or some rural area, village, right? So like one should understand the culture of those migrant people from tribal areas or rural areas, right? Or the highlands of Jammu and Kashmir or Uttarakhand, in their own social cultural background, in their own social cultural settings. So to understand behavior of those people, right, one should understand their social cultural settings, their social cultural background. They should not be evaluated in terms of metropolitan culture. ठीक है ना? And you see, like in metropolitan cities, you will see often like middle class or higher classes, having biasness and prejudices towards lower migrant, particularly migrant, workers, migrant people, right? Some prejudice, biases, isn't it? Accusing, abusing, those people, right? And that, is there because of comparison of those migrant workers, culture from their own culture, right? Metropolitan culture. No, just when I had come to Delhi, like in year 2002-3, so like उस समय एक term यहाँ पे बड़ा popular, मतलब popular क्या, like I often used to listen, Bihari. I mean, some group of people, I mean, with a particular set of behavior, they are labeled as Bihari. अगर कोई थूक दिया कहीं, वो कहीं से भी हो, तमिलनाडु से हो, कर्नाटका से हो, like I like people used to refer, अरे क्या बिहारी है, बिहारी, kind of like see, the people who are migrant, who are stressed, distressed, right, uncertain, those who are living in uncertain environment, whether they will get work today or not, or they're pulling rickshaw or involved in real estate work, but those works are not regular, right? Rainy season mein rickshaw wale ko customer is not there for rickshaw pullers, right? So like they're always distressed, because of their poor background, right? They have to send money back home also, money order karna hai, right? Transfer karna hai paisa, like a lot of stress, tensions are there. So like those such people, you will find like among such people, higher tendency of alcoholism, chewing tobacco, BD pina and all, right? So like in there, if you take into account, if one takes into account, their social cultural background, right, you will realize that, okay, their behavior is because of these factors, and their behavior is related to, like, they are not educated. Illiteracy is very high in northern states, particularly Bihar, Jharkhand. So they are not educated, they are not literate, they are not educated. They don't understand, they don't have sense of, cleanliness, or they don't understand the significance or benefits of cleanliness, right? Or not chewing tobacco, or like good health, isn't it? So like problem is not there with the individual, but problem is not with the people, but with that social cultural setting or background, isn't it? Right? And society, the problem lies in society, isn't it? Problem lies with the governments. The governments have failed to educate the people, make people literate, educated, right? So what I mean to say, ki according to this perspective of cultural relativism, like every social group, social cultural group, right, or society should be analyzed in its own cultural background, right? It should be analyzed relatively, right, in relation to its own social cultural background, right? जैसे आपने पढ़ा होगा, like in NCERT book there is very good example, beautiful example of that tsunami and tribes of Andaman and Nicobar, right? Many tribal groups, like during tsunami, all the modern men, right, metropolitan people, those who go to celebrate New Year, on beaches, sea beaches, so all modern people, many of the modern people, they died because of tsunami, right? But the tribals, right, because of their tradition, social, cultural, ways and methods, right? They knew about tsunami in advance, like barking of dogs, movement of, air, birds, right? Like many, traditional symbols, indicated them about tsunami, and they went into up to higher reaches, they saved their life. But all the modern people were lost away, right? So, like, you cannot say that metropolitan culture is superior than that of, tribal culture, right? Today we are following, many aspects of tribal culture for sustainable life, good life, healthy life, right? We are following, organic and all. I mean, many things in metropolitan cities also, right, which are popular in rural areas, village age, isn't it? So what I mean to say, according to this concept, every social cultural group or social cultural setting should be understood in its own cultural background. It should not be compared with, some other culture, right, for analysis or understanding. So this is, right? Okay. One more concept is there related to culture. I will just brief you here, and I will discuss in detail in social change wala area, like unit. This is cultural lag, right? Cultural lag, right? Cultural lag. So what is this concept of cultural lag? Look, as I said, culture broadly classified material culture and non-material culture, right? And the speed of growth and development of material culture, the speed of innovations, right, technological development has been higher than that of non-material culture in societies, right? And what happens because of this is very related to the speed, right, of cultural growth and development. Non-material culture, material cultural growth development is higher than that of non-material culture, right? The spread popularity of material culture is higher than that of non-material culture, isn't it? So it often like the lag often happens between material and non-material culture, right? Like with example, you will understand better. Like material aspect of material culture, computer, right? Non-material culture, literacy, education, right? So if we take example of Indian society, in Indian society, the literacy rate is low. In many states, literacy rate is far below, like in northern states, in comparison to southern states, like Kerala now, literacy rate is very low, right? But accessibility of computer, smartphones, mobile phone is high, right? So what I say, we see is there is lag between material and non-material. Many people are not aware about operating computers, right? Like government has announced, like universalization of vaccination, and it is mandatory for vaccination for the age group of 18 to 45 to register themselves on the portal. But because of illiteracy, computer illiteracy, or because of lack of knowledge of operating computers, lack of accessibility to computers, isn't it? Even if like cyber cafes are there, but people are not aware about how to operate, and people are susceptible about losing their identity or their data and all. So what we see, like still large number of people have not enrolled. Large number of people are yet to enroll, for vaccination, right? So this is, aspect of culture lag. Why this is? So this is basically aspect of culture lag. कि computer is there, but the knowledge how to operate computer is not there. Education is not there, literacy is not there. So this is the situation of cultural lag. Simple terms में cultural lag refers to gap between material culture and non-material culture. In simple terms, cultural lag refers to gap between or lag between material culture and non-material culture, right? Material culture and non-material culture. Material culture is there, right? But people are not aware about, isn't it, how to deal with that material aspect of culture, right? So that is referred as, cultural lag, cultural gap, right? Okay, so this is